Pickle, one last thing to do, and we've got a cake here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for the reason it should be.
Correct.
Because the reason it should be, let's bring in the belated birthday boy. We're pleased to be joined, as we are every Thursday, by the Hall of Famer, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, our friend Craig Way. Mr. Way, how's your birthday week been?
It's been good. You know, when I was younger, and I'm clearly more advanced in age than probably the two of you combined, but you know, when I was younger, you had a birthday. It was a day. Maybe it got moved a day to a Saturday for a party, something. But we live in an age now, and was introduced to this by my wife, that you have a birthday week, and there's like this week-long celebration thing. So that's kind of been going on throughout the course of the week. It's been good. I'm not complaining. It's just it's a different kind of world we live in these days.
Now, I do know this for a fact. I know that your daughter is something of a baker, and not even calling her a baker feels like minimizing it. She is a artist with this. Did she make you something?
Well, she was up in Flower Mound, so she didn't do one this time. She's a cake boss, is what she is. She's big into her cake thing, but she has promised to have me a cake the next time I get up there and can be around the grandchildren. That's as much to take the grandchildren off her hands for a couple hours or something as anything else. But you know, she did. Yeah, two years ago on Scoreboard Live, she had that cake that Linda brought onto the set, and it looked like something that would have been entered into a contest. Of course, you and I, all we did was eat it, but it was good.
Also could be a contest.
We were like, that looked really nice. Anyway, Craig Way, Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, join us here. All right, Craig, I do want to ask you a little bit about your other gig besides being the Texas high school football guy, and that is the voice of the Texas Longhorns. You host the Craig Way Show down there on AM 1300 The Zone, and my question for you is I know you've been talking about it ad nauseum all week. How is the Longhorn zeitgeist? How are they handling Arch Madness? How's it going for them?
Oh, they're in cartwheel phase. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of excitement about it. But you know what? Maybe it just takes a guy like Quinn Ewers, who was going about his business at a very high level and a Heisman frontrunner, getting hurt for people to appreciate him, even as Arch was kind of spectacular when he came out and threw a touchdown pass on his first play and then had a 67-yard touchdown run where his clocked speed was over 20 miles per hour going down the sidelines to that. It outran the defenders. Everybody was like, wow. And like Steve Sarkisian said to me on the coach's show last night, Sark said, I guarantee you, he got that skill set, that speed, from his grandfather, not from either of his uncles. He said Peyton and Eli together probably couldn't run that fast. So there's a lot of excitement about it. But by the same token, I think everybody's also measuring, hey, how long might Quinn Ewers be out? Could this be, if there's such a thing as having a good time for your quarterback to be injured? You have UL Monroe this week, and then they open conference play, but at home against Mississippi State. And then there's an open date before OU if Ewers needed that much time. I don't know that he's going to need that much time from what Sark has been saying. He's progressed pretty well with the oblique injury, but I'm probably not expecting to see him on the field on Saturday night.
I read a tweet on Saturday after that long touchdown run where I believe Alex Kirshner of Split Zone Duo said it's pretty cool to see Manning set the family career rushing yardage record on one carry.
One.
It was pretty wild to see. All right, Craig, there is a bunch of Texas high school football going on this weekend, and I know that the big game that is rattling around the minds there in Austin has to be Westlake's trip up to Cibolo Steel in a state-ranked top 10 matchup, or rather top 15 matchup between two teams that both have legitimate state championship aspirations. San Antonio has been absolutely bedeviled by the Austin and specifically Westlake for the better part of the last decade. When I know you're close with Tony Salazar and you've got your finger on the pulse down there, coming off of a loss to Atascocita, I'm curious how you stack up these two teams between Westlake and Cibolo Steel.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, and probably the greater Austin area and San Antonio area might be even more gaga about this game had Westlake not, had their knuckles wrapped by Atascocita last week. And that's been kind of the mission this week for Salazar and for his guys is get back to work, take the lessons that you learned from a non-district game and apply them. They had a long regular season winning streak snap, but they've lost district games before. They lost to Lake Travis, so, in the past. So it's like, okay, go back to work. And it has been very much a business-like approach for this group this week. I think it's going to be a really good game there tomorrow night between those two.
It's going to be fabulous. Elsewhere, kind of across the state of Texas, we when I was on your show on Tuesday, we talked a little bit about the rankings that we do here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and one of the things that we really kind of struggle with, I think, is when you have a team like Atascocita who goes on the road and beats Westlake. That is undeniably a terrific win. And then also, I believe they moved up one spot in the rankings because nobody lost them. Nobody lost ahead of them, and it's hard to punish teams for winning. I'm curious, if you were the Texas high school football czar and you could wave your magic wand and do the rankings the way that you would see fit, how would you balance that where a team gets a really big win, but none of the teams ahead of them really do anything deserving of a drop? How do you measure those things out?
Well, sure as hell would have done it different than you guys did. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's really difficult. I asked you on the show, on Scoreboard Live on Friday night about it, and you said in your words, and I like the words, Atascocita is going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. And I think you meant it multifaceted. A problem for teams this year. We'll find out. They still have, obviously, a district game with North Shore, and of course, they've met them twice in one season in the past. So there's that. But then what do you do with them when the other teams ranked ahead of them handled their business? And it would be different if all of those teams barely squeak by. The example I offer up, obviously, Georgia beating Kentucky by 1 point and Texas being impressive. So in the AP poll, they jumped past them, even though Georgia won the game. And yes, people would say, well, that was on the road against an SEC opponent as opposed to home against a G5 opponent. And it's a great point. A lot of this is going to be eye test. How did the team look in winning their games? And Atascocita's looked really good in both of those wins, the wins over Katy and Westlake, and that's why I think the two of us were in agreement that they have the best resume right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be number one in the state. We need a few more weeks to let this thing unfold.
Craig Way, the Texas High School Ball Hall of Famer, joins us every Thursday here on Texas Football Today. All right, Craig, last question, and I'm actually just going to crib from the question that you asked me on your show on Tuesday, which was, normally we come on here and we punish one another by making us choose between games, and there are a lot of really good games, including Steele and Westlake, including Carthage and Chapel Hill. Is there any doubt in your mind that the biggest game in the state this week is going on in the Brazos Valley tomorrow night?
Put it this way. Folks need to make their plan to roll through the drive-thru at Lane's Chicken Tenders, go through, get those, and then you can tailgate in the parking lot over at Tigerland Stadium. No, put it this way. There's no bigger game. I hesitate on the weekend when you have 750 games to say one game stands above all others, but there's no game that stands higher than that for the reasons that heavy-duty rivalry, both teams really good, and a district game. It checks the boxes, and I think that's why it kind of stands out. If I'm picking one game, and like I said to you when I offered the question to you, is there any reason to pick any other game to attend if you could only attend one than that game? And I think that has to be the one. But like you said, the weekend's not without outstanding games, and you listed a couple there, and there are more as well. But if you're picking only one game, that would be my choice.
He's Craig Way. He's a Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. You can hear him on the Craig Way Show on AM 1300 The Zone every weekday. You can hear him call Texas and Louisiana Monroe, ULM, I think you're supposed to call them, on the radio this weekend. And then, of course, see him on High School Scoreboard Live on Bally Sports Southwest alongside myself and Aaron Hardigan, 10:30 tomorrow night on Bally Sports. Craig, appreciate your time, my friend, and I will see you tomorrow night.
Brushing up on my Louisiana high school mascots to toss in there about third, fourth quarter.
I'm excited about it. Thanks, Craig.
You bet.
There he goes, Craig Way, the Texas High School Ball Hall of Famer. Joins us every Thursday here on Texas Football Today because it's his birthday. But we're also just going to act like every week's his birthday. We're just going to have him on every week.
I'm down to celebrate Craig Way every week. I think that's pretty...
Another reason to have a cake. It all makes sense.